Have you ever thought about this? People have been asking questions like, why do we think? Why do we feel? Why do we dream? For thousands of years. And guess what? At one time, the answer to why do people act weird was, oh, it must be evil spirits. Yep, that was actually believed. Welcome back to the Learning Studio. In today's episode of our psychology series, we're taking a trip through time to explore the history of psychology. From philosophy all the way to modern science. From philosophy to early psychology. Psychology didn't just appear out of nowhere. It started with philosophers like Plato and Aristotle asking, what makes us human? Is knowledge born in us, or do we gain it through experience? Fast forward to the 1600s, René Descartes, the guy famous for saying, I think, therefore I am, started linking the mind and the body, kind of like early brain science. But back then, people still had some pretty strange explanations for behavior. For example, if someone had a mental illness, they were often thought to be cursed. Imagine living in that era. Birth of psychology as a science. The big shift came in the late 1800s. In 1879, a man named Wilhelm Wundt opened the very first psychology lab in Germany. That's why he's called the father of modern psychology. For the first time, people weren't just guessing about behavior. They were testing it. Wundt studied reaction times and mental processes. Basically, he tried to measure the mind like you'd measure speed with a stopwatch. Fun example, humor. Imagine being one of Wundt's students back then. Hey, we're going to test how fast you press a button when a light flashes. That may sound boring today, but back then it was groundbreaking. Kind of like the 1800s version of a brain scan. Different schools of thought. After Wundt, psychology branched into different schools of thought. For example, psychoanalysis, led by Sigmund Freud, who believed our unconscious mind controls much of our behavior. Behaviorism, which focused on actions we can see and measure, like Pavlov's famous dog experiment. Humanism, which looked at growth, happiness, and free will. Each school of thought added a new layer to understanding human behavior. Why this history matters today. So why should we care about all this history? Because psychology is still growing. The questions Plato asked, the methods Wundt used, and the theories Freud started, all of them shaped the psychology we use today in schools, therapy, workplaces, even in designing apps and social media. Understanding its history shows us how far we've come and how much further we can go. So here's the takeaway. Psychology didn't just start in a lab. It started as a human curiosity about the mind. And today, it's a powerful science that touches every part of our lives. In the next video, we'll dive into the major schools of thought in psychology: behaviorism, psychoanalysis, humanism, cognitive psychology, and more. Trust me, this one's going to be fun because you'll probably recognize these ideas in your own life. Check the playlist link in the description and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it.